Hi everyone, welcome back to this channel. So today we are going to discuss about trade union movement in India. From the Great Britain, the modern trade union movement crept in India along with the industrialization. The first cotton mill in India was established in 1851 in Bombay and first jute mill in 1855 in Bengal. This was the beginning of the modern factory system in India. Later, number of factories began to increase both in Bombay and Bengal. The modern factory system brought in its wake employment of women and children, long and excessive hours of work, and undermining of morality, lack of education, poor housing, and excessively high death rate. Indian trade union movement can be divided into three phases. That is a primitive stage or of the trade union movement, development period of the trade union movement, and the third one is the trade union movement during post-independence era. So these are three stages with respect to trade union movement in India. That is primitive stage of trade union movement, development period of trade union movement, and trade union movement during the post-independence era. Primitive stage, development period, and post-independence era. So with respect to primitive stage of trade union movement, the first phase falls between 1850 to 1900s, during which the inception of trade unions took place. Capitalists were only interested in their productivity and profitability. In addition to long working hours, their wages were low and general economic conditions were poor in industries. Workers were socially economically too weak to raise their voice against the industrialist. The labor movement was not started by workers, mostly uneducated social reformers and philanthropists, out of their sympathy for the workers, agitated and protested against inhuman working conditions of workers. For example, Dinabandhu Mitra, a dramatist, led a labor agitation in Bengal in 1860, and Sarobji Shahpuri Bengali protested on behalf of workers in Bombay in 1875. Now, protests against low wages and miserable conditions of workplace gained momentum. The first strike took place in express mills at Nagpur in 1877. This was followed in Madras and Bombay. Agitations, demonstrations, and mass petitions became frequent under the leadership of individuals, but not by organization. In 1890, Mr. N.M. Lokhande, a worker in a factory, organized first labor association, namely Bombay Mill Hands Association. He started it in 1884, a labor journal, Dinabandhu, the first working class newspaper. He organized people like rickshawalas, etc., prepared a study report on their working condition and submitted into the Factory Labor Commission. He convened a mass meeting of about 10,000 workers where resolutions were passed for limitation on working hours, weekly holidays, midday recess, and compensation for injuries. Guided by educated philanthropists and social workers, the growth of trade union movement was slow in this space. Many strikes took place in 2 decades following 1880 in all industrial cities. After the formation of labor association, namely Bombay Mill Hands Association in 1890, many associations were formed, namely Amalgamated Society of Railway Servants of India and Burma 1891, the Printers Union Calcutta in 1905, the Kamgar Hitvardhak Sabha 1909, the Social Service 1910, the postal workers founded postal unions and designated postal clubs. The Bombay Postal Union 1907 was formed. The jute industry in India also began to witness protests of workers for better conditions. All the unions were established in Bombay, being center of the industries. The first phase has been characterized as social welfare period of our early trade union movement. The labor association mainly relied upon the constitutional method for getting their grievance redressed. The most notable feature of this period was the absence of strikes as a means of getting grievance redressed. Strikes during this period were only exceptional. Those earlier labor associations were not the trade unions in the strict sense of the term trade union. Those earlier labor associations had no role of membership, no funds, and no rules and regulations. They were more or less temporary associations. And then came the second stage, that is the development period of the trade union movement. The second phase of Indian trade union movement falls between 1900s and 1947. This phase was characterized by the development of organized trade unions and political movements of the working class. It also witnessed the emergence of militant trade unions. The First World War that went on from 1914 to 1918 and the Russian Revolution of 1917 gave a new turn to the Indian trade union movement and organized effort on the part of the workers to form trade unions. The first incident took place in Ahmedabad in the year 1918, which eventually resulted in the formation of the Textile Labour Association TLA by Mahatma Gandhi. That was in 1918 at Ahmedabad. Many modern labor unions began to spring up. The textile workers in Madras, under the leadership of B.P. Wadia, formed a labor union in 1918. So when Mahatma Gandhi formed Textile Labour Association TLA in Ahmedabad, in Madras, under the leadership of B.P. Wadia, a labor union was formed in 1918 and 1919. Now, Mazdoor Mitra Mondal Mazdoor Mitra Mondal was formed by Ansuyaben Sarabhai. These were followed by many unions in Bombay, Bengal, Punjab, etc. Later, labor movements and independence movements were joined together. Now, recognized trade union organizations. The first one of it is All India Trade Union Congress, that is AITUC, All India Trade Union Congress. The Indian National Congress, in its Amritsar session of 1919 and in Nagpur session of 1920, expressed its fullest sympathy with the workers of India. The inaugural meeting of All India Trade Union Congress (AITUC), the first national federation of trade unions, was established in 1920. It was attended among others by such eminent national leaders as Pandit Motilal Nehru, Mrs. Annie Besant, etc. The first president of AITUC was the national leader Lala Lajpat Rai. Slowly, the communists began to capture and control trade union movements in India. In the annual session of AITUC at Nagpur in 1929, the moderate group under Joshi, Shiva Rao and V.V. Giri withdrew from AITUC and formed Trade Union Federation in 1931. So, 1931, Trade Union Federation was formed and Joshi, Shiva Rao and V.V. Giri withdrew from AITUC. Now, this Trade Union Federation formed in 1931. In 1933, it was renamed as National Trade Union Federation, that is NTUF. Further split in AITUC occurred between Gandhian reformists and communists. The communists abandoned AITUC to form a purely red trade union congress. However, in 1935, by the cooperation of all leaders, the rival factions were brought together into AITUC. The Red Trade Union Congress merged with AITUC in 1935 and the NTUF also merged with AITUC at Bombay in 1940. The period between 1900s and 1947 witnessed the emergence of militant trade unionism and is conspicuous for its strike conscious. This unity continued up to Second World War. And then came the third phase, that is the post-independence era. The third phase between 1947 to 1970 marks the emergence of a trend showing the greater participation of trade union movement in sharing the powers and responsibilities for planned economic development, and a trend hitherto practically unknown. The working class movement was politicized along the lines of political parties. The AITUC became the trade union arm of the Communist Party of India, and it has been affiliated to the World Federation of Trade Unions known as WFTU. Now there came in the Indian National Trade Union Congress, that is INTUC. So those labor leaders who associated with the politics of Congress Party succeeded from the AITUC and formed the Indian National Trade Union Congress, that is INTUC, for the promotion of the policies of Congress in a democratic way on the Gandhian principles. In May 1947, the INTUC was formed under the leadership of Gulzarilal Nanda, Khan Dubai Desai, Harihar Nath Shastri, etc. So, in May 1947, the INTUC was formed under the leadership of Gulzarilal Nanda, Khan Dubais Desai, Harihar Nath Shastri, etc. It has been affiliated to the International Conference of Free Trade Unions. INTUC was the first labor federation to gain the pleasing and political support. More and more union began to be brought under INTUC. It enjoyed the popular support and favor from Congress Party and Government of India. It became an important federation of workers in India. And then came the Hind Mazdoor Sabha, HMS. Hind Mazdoor Sabha was founded by socialist leaders on 24/12/1948 by clubbing both the Indian Federation of Labour, that is IFL, which was founded during World War II, and the Hind Mazdoor Panchayat, which was formed by separating from the INTUC. So, Hind Mazdoor Sabha HMS was founded by socialist leaders on 24th December of 1948 by clubbing both the IFL, that is Indian Federation of Labour, which was founded during the World War II, and Hind Mazdoor Panchayat, which was formed by separating from the INTUC. They believed in democratic ways to achieve their goal to establish a democratic and socialist society. But HMS believed in the independent functions of trade union from the influence of the government. Later, it has been sponsoring the policies and ideologies of Janata Party. And then came the Union Trade Congress, that is UTUC. The Revolutionary Socialist Party of India formed this trade union on 30th April of 1949. Ideologically, it sponsored the policies of the Communist Party, that is Leninist. The main object of this organization was to conduct the trade union activities and build up a central platform of labor on the broadest possible basis of trade union unity, free from sectarian party policies. Now, the next came the Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh, that is BMS. Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh was formed in 1955. So, the first one to come was AITUC, that was in 1920, and then came INTUC in 1947, and towards the end of 1948, Hindu Mazdoor Sabha came, and then in 1949, United Trade Union Congress came. And then we have Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh that came, that was formed in 1955. That was formed under the leadership of Think D. It was having connection with the Janata Sangh Party, which became later Bharatiya Janata Party. This union sponsors the Hindu ideology. It intends to generate a sense of responsibility towards the nation. So that is with BMS, which was formed in 1955. And then next came the Center for Indian Trade Union, or CITU, Center of Indian Trade Union. And that in 1964, the Communist Party was split into two, as CPI and CPIM. So CPI retained IAITUC with it. The Communist Party of India of the Marxist wing, that is CPIM, formed a separate union in the name of CITU, Center for Union Trade Union. So this split happened in 1964, where CPI retained AITUC and CPIM formed CITUC, Center of Indian Trade Union. So that is with the brief history of the various phases of trade union movements. Now, other recognized central trade union organizations are All India Central Council of Trade Union, that is by Communist Party of India, Marxist Leninist Liberation. Then All India United Trade Union Center, New Trade Union Initiative, that is by independent from political parties but left. Labour Progressive Federation, then Trade Union Coordination Committee, and some other trade union centers are Akhila Bharatiya Kamgar Sena, All India Center for Trade Union, Andhra Pradesh Federation of Trade Unions, Anna Todil Sangha Peravai, Bharatiya Karga Sena, Indian Confederation of Labour, Kerala Trade Union Congress, Maharashtra General Kargar Union, Indian National Trinamool Trade Union Congress, Socialist Trade Union Centre, Swatantra Torilali Union, Telugu Nadu Trade Union Council, United Trade Union Congress, etc. And we have furthermore many trade union centers. Now, besides workers, white collar employees, supervisors, and managers are also organized by trade unions, as for example in the banking, insurance, and petroleum industries. As of 2002, the combined membership of trade unions in India was around 26 lakh, 246 lakh 589 as per statistics from the Ministry of Labor. Around 11 central trade union organizations are documented by Ministry of Labor in 2008. Now, aims of trade union movement. The trade union movement is for a continuous demand of the wage earners for the purpose of maintaining or improving the working condition. Political motivations and ideologies have influenced Indian trade union movement. The twin aspect of Indian trade union movement is labor organization for industrial bargaining, and its ideological orientation were analyzed with a political color. The aspect of the trade unions was scanned in the wider background of the national struggle against imperialism. There is a simultaneous dissension or fragmentation within the trade union movement itself. Now, weakness of Indian trade union movement in India. The first one was the political interference. As a trade union have been affiliated to one or other political party, they function as a mouthpiece of the origin of the political party. Often the political leaders have used the trade union platform for their political gains. Hence, trade unions are still handmaiden of political parties. The second one is illiteracy, poverty, unawareness, etc. of the working class. Social and economic background of the workers was very low, and they don't have any decision taking capacity and simply follow the vice leader of their workplace. The trade unions are also dominated by people who are uneducated, having rural background. These trade union leaders are also influenced by caste, religion, and linguistic consideration. And the third weakness was outside leadership. Outside leadership of trade union is one of the reasons in disastrous position of labor unions in India. The fourth one is multiplicity of trade unions. Emergence of mushroom unions is another weakness to healthy trade union movement in India. The fifth one is role of government. Government supported the industrialist and suppressed the agitations of trade union with the severe enactments. The trade union leader was severely harassed by way of prosecution and prosecution by rich capitalist and state. The sixth one is rivalry between trade unions. Due to rivalry between trade unions, the object and goal of trade unionism, that is the protection and promotion of economic and social interests of the workers, is pushed back. Due to rivalry between the trade unions, the agitations were failed many a times. And the seventh one is unity among industrialists. The unity of workers failed due to the rivalry, whereas the industrialists become united and shared the markets among themselves and established sector monopolies and became strong and used the weapon of lockout to make the workers weak. So the main weakness of Indian trade union movement are these seven. The first one is political interference. The second one is illiteracy, poverty, and unawareness of the working class. Then the third one, outside leadership. The fourth one, multiplicity of trade unions. The fifth one, role of government. The sixth one, rivalry between trade unions. And the seventh one, unity among industrialists. Now, international law relating to trade union rights. There are few international law such as Trade Union Rights and Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948. Trade Union Rights and Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948. Then the second one, Trade Union Rights and the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights 1966. The second one is Trade Union Rights and the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights 1966. The third one, Trade Union Rights and International Labour Organization, that is ILO. Trade Union Rights and International Labour Organization, ILO. So these are the three main bodies or three enactments in the international scenario that is related to trade union rights. So we have few important case laws with respect to this that we'll look in the next section. So thank you for everyone for listening. Like, comment and subscribe. Please click the bell icon so that you can stay updated and get a notification when I upload my next video or a podcast. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day. Bye. Take care.